Welcome to our Trump Briefing Show. Today, we're kicking things off with a spicy media showdown. President Trump unexpectedly sat down with Jeffrey Goldberg from The Atlantic, challenging the magazine's fairness amid ongoing tensions. It's a classic battle of Trump versus the media, especially around national security leaks and controversy. Stay tuned as we see if Goldberg can keep his cool. Next up, Ukraine is under attack. Despite Trump's plea for Russia to stop drone strikes, over 100 attacks happened overnight. It's a tense scene, with Ukraine standing firm on its territory and rejecting any ideas of conceding Crimea, even as the US proposes peace plans that could change the game. The conflict isn't cooling down anytime soon. And finally, Syria makes a surprising move at the UN. The new foreign minister, Asaad al-Shibani, raised the Syrian flag publicly for the first time since Bashar Assad's fall. There's hope for better relations, but the US still has sanctions in place. Meanwhile, some US officials are talking about normalization, so keep an eye on Syria's next steps. Please continue to watch for the full stories. According to Yahoo US, President Donald Trump recently sat down for an interview with Jeffrey Goldberg, the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, amidst ongoing controversy surrounding the Signalgate story. Goldberg's reporting, which revealed a secret White House group chat involving top officials discussing a planned attack on Houthi forces in Yemen via Signal, ignited a crisis within the Pentagon and raised concerns about security protocols. Trump, who has long been critical of Goldberg and The Atlantic, dismissed the interview as a challenge to see if the magazine could be truthful about him, sarcastically claiming he was doing it out of curiosity and competitive spirit. Trump also lambasted the magazine, calling it a failing magazine, and accused Goldberg of being a sleazebag, while asserting that Goldberg's previous stories about him, including the hoax on suckers and losers, were fictional. The president's disdain for the publication and Goldberg's reporting underscores the deep mistrust and tension between Trump and mainstream media outlets, especially when sensitive national security topics are involved. Deutsche Welle reports that amid these tensions, Ukraine announced that Russia launched over 100 drones in overnight attacks, despite a public warning from Trump urging Vladimir Putin to cease military actions. This escalation occurred just a day after a significant strike on Kyiv, highlighting the ongoing volatility and danger in the region. Trump's call for a halt to Russian aggression contrasts sharply with the persistent military confrontations, emphasizing the complex geopolitical landscape. While Trump's administration had previously aimed to de-escalate conflicts, these recent developments reveal the fragile state of peace and the persistent threat of escalation. The situation remains tense, with Ukrainian authorities continuing to defend against Russian drone assaults, even as international efforts to broker peace and stability face mounting challenges. Deutsche Welle reports that the United States has proposed a controversial peace plan to Ukraine, which includes recognizing Russia's annexation of Crimea, a move Kyiv firmly rejects as a violation of its constitution. The proposal has sparked intense debate among international observers, with analysts warning that such recognition would mark a seismic shift in U.S. foreign policy, undermining the global principle of territorial integrity established after World War II. Ukrainian leaders, including President Zelensky, have publicly reaffirmed their stance that Crimea remains Ukrainian territory, emphasizing the legal and moral importance of resisting any recognition of Russian control. Experts warn that accepting Crimea's annexation could set a dangerous precedent, encouraging other authoritarian regimes like China and Turkey to pursue territorial revisions, and risking the alienation of key allies who see such concessions as capitulation to Russian aggression. The internal political fallout within the U.S. is also a concern, with critics fearing that endorsing Russia's annexation could damage America's credibility as a supporter of democracy and the rule of law worldwide. The Independent reveals a startling episode involving U.S. Congressman Matt Gaetz, who visited El Salvador's infamous mega-prison and then pitched the idea of relocating migrants there to Stephen Miller, a hardline immigration advisor. During a diplomatic trip in July 2024, Salvadoran President Nayib Bukele offered Gaetz a tour of Secot, a notorious facility described as a tropical gulag, where human rights abuses have been reported. Gaetz was reportedly struck by the bleak conditions and saw an opportunity to suggest that migrants could be detained in El Salvador's prison system, which he believed would be more cost-effective and an effective deterrent. He then discussed this idea with Miller, who presented it to former President Trump, who expressed support, citing the potential for cheaper incarceration and stronger deterrence. This clandestine plan involved a $6 million deal arranged by the State Department to send hundreds of migrants to El Salvador, despite international concerns about human rights violations and legal violations within the U.S. immigration system. The episode underscores the troubling trend of leveraging foreign detention facilities for domestic immigration enforcement, raising ethical and legal questions about human rights and sovereignty. Nikkei Asia reports that Japan is considering increasing its imports of U.S. corn and soybeans as part of ongoing tariff negotiations, aiming to offset reduced exports to China amid their trade tensions. The U.S. has historically been Japan's primary source of corn, used mainly for animal feed, and the country is exploring ways to bolster imports to strengthen its bargaining position. The Japanese government also sees this move as strategic for its growing bioethanol industry, which aims to increase the proportion of renewable fuels in its energy mix, targeting a rise from 3% to 10% by 2030. By importing more U.S. corn and soybeans, Japan hopes to leverage its dependency as a bargaining chip in tariff talks, while simultaneously supporting its decarbonization goals. U.S. President Trump expressed enthusiasm about the plan, emphasizing that increased imports would benefit American farmers and bolster economic ties. This approach highlights the interconnectedness of trade, energy policy, and diplomatic negotiations in the evolving landscape of U.S.-Japan relations. The Toronto Star reports that Syria's new foreign minister, Asaad al-Shibani, made a historic appearance at the United Nations, raising the three-starred flag now representing the Syrian government, signaling a shift from the opposition's banner. This marked the first high-level Syrian government official to appear publicly in the U.S. since Bashar Assad's regime was toppled in December, following a swift rebel offensive. Al-Shibani expressed openness to international engagement and called for the lifting of sanctions, which had been imposed after Assad's brutal crackdown on protests in 2011. Meanwhile, the U.S. administration under President Trump has yet to officially recognize Syria's current government, maintaining Assad-era sanctions despite some temporary relief. Notably, two Republican Congress members, Representatives Marlon Stutzman and Corey Mills, visited Damascus unofficially, discussing conditions for sanctions relief, such as chemical weapons destruction, counterterrorism cooperation, and assurances to Israel, with Mills mentioning that Syria might normalize relations with Israel under certain conditions. Western nations, like the UK and EU, have begun easing sanctions more swiftly, signaling a potential thaw in diplomatic relations. The Toronto Star vividly depicts the political landscape in Texas, highlighting U.S. Representative Wesley Hunt's potential bid for the Senate seat, which could significantly shake up the midterm race. Hunt, a decorated West Point graduate and Iraq War helicopter pilot, has rapidly gained prominence within Republican circles, especially after securing Trump's endorsement in 2020 and earning a prime-speaking slot at the 2024 RNC. His strategic meetings with White House aides suggest a serious consideration of entering the race, aiming to challenge incumbent Senator John Cornyn and Attorney General Ken Paxton, both of whom face internal party dissent. Hunt's close ties to Trump, his frequent campaigning for the former president, and his appeal to both wealthy and working-class voters in Houston's affluent River Oaks and Harris County make him a formidable contender. His potential candidacy could force Trump to navigate a delicate endorsement dilemma among three Republican hopefuls, possibly reshaping the Texas primary dynamic and influencing national Republican strategies. Milwaukee's local scene takes a darker turn as the Toronto Star reports the arrest of Judge Hannah Dugan by the FBI, amid escalating tensions between the Trump administration and the judiciary over immigration enforcement. Dugan, accused of obstructing federal agents attempting to apprehend an individual at her courthouse, is caught in the broader controversy surrounding the Justice Department's efforts to crack down on local officials obstructing immigration policies. Her arrest underscores the heightened conflict over immigration crackdowns, with federal authorities signaling a tough stance against officials impeding enforcement. Dugan's background as an elected judge with a history of serving in probate and civil divisions, coupled with her legal experience, contrasts sharply with her current predicament, which has sparked questions about judicial independence and federal-local tensions in immigration enforcement. The case exemplifies the ongoing clashes between federal efforts and local authorities, emphasizing the contentious nature of immigration policy in the current political climate. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.
Got a book so big and bright. Open it and take a flight. Learn about the stars and see. Everything is here for me. Flip the pages one by one. Knowledge under the sun. From dinosaurs to galaxies, a world of endless mysteries. Encyclopedia, yay. Facts and fun all day. From A to Z, let's see. Curious minds run free. Jump into the pages deep. Secrets that you want to keep. Time will fly and you will find. Magic lies in every line. Animals and history. Science full of mystery. Gotta read and gotta know. Watch our minds all start to grow. Encyclopedia, yay. Facts and fun all day. From A to Z, let's see. Curious minds run free, yeah. Jump into the pages deep. Secrets that you want to keep. Time will fly and you will find. Magic lies in every line. To run free line. Every line's run Animals and history. Science full of mystery.